Good evening, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the iShine podcast. Baby, let me just go on and start off by saying, Coach T, you the truth, honey, because they already in here. Let me see. Somebody was saying, Jaquisha, talking about, hey, let's go. Young people are already up in the place saying hello. Kelly A. Barnes is like, hey, ladies, hello. Listen, they already ready because they know how you bring it. So that's just a testament of how you were able to get nominated for Excellence in Wealth. So I'm just really excited. Let me back up and say I am the host, Angela Lewis, A-Love, and today's broadcast of iShine is all about wealth, and nobody else is better to talk about it but Coach Tee Birdsong, right? Y'all already know. Look at Kelly. High five, Coach T. Yes. So listen, I want y'all, because we midday, baby. So some of y'all on your lunch breaks and y'all need to get this wealth information because y'all might want to be checking up out their place real soon in 2022. This is the place to be to get it. You hear me? It's time to get it. So tag everybody you know, get them on this broadcast. Y'all know how you do. Just put their name in there so we can call them out so they know we talking about them. Yes. So midday fire. Absolutely. Keisha. Hey, ladies. Hey, Keisha. Come on. Well, listen again. Let me just properly introduce you. And then, Coach T, we're going to get into this thing, right?
Okay.
Alicia Tee Birdsong, the owner of Dream Financial Services, is a 26-year-old success-driven entrepreneur and philanthropist. She is a six-figure business owner who loves to give back to the community by teaching financial literacy, hosting financial events, and going into schools throughout the community. Talisha believes by giving back to her community that she is being the change she wants to see. Y'all better come on now. Be the change, right? She is also a financial and business coach where she is affectionately called Coach T. She spreads knowledge of how to be financially successful. She feels this is her priority. Her passion is for our youth to be financially secure as they become young adults. She has a big heart for her hometown community. Whoop, whoop, Nashville, Tennessee, baby. Yes. Consistently talks and coaches her family, students, and peers. Y'all come on and give it up. Look, for Coach. I love it. Now, behind the scenes, for those who always catch the broadcast, I normally go straight and say, listen to my guest, welcome, and tell us who the real person is. But Coach T, I'm going to let you say hello. And then I want you to go straight into what we're talking about today, which is shift your mindset, shift your money, right? All right, let's go, girl.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Coach T, of course. I am a mindset and money coach, so I do believe in shifting your mindset to shift your money. One thing that I had to learn is manifestation and speaking what you seek until you see what you said. And of course, I was in a lot of bad situations as a kid. I was sheltered, so mom said no party. She said no this, no that. When I became an adult, boom, it's like I'm doing whatever I want. And I was in such a bad place mentally, physically, emotionally that I would always speak negatively over my life. I'm not
Mm.
going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to go here. I'm not going to ever be able to amount to this and amount to that. And I allow other people to pour that into me as well. And I had to get to a place where I started thinking differently because I wanted differently. And then as I thought differently, I started to do differently. And that's where the saying shift your mindset so that you can shift your money came from. Because when you think it, you can see it. And when you see it, you believe it. So it's really important for anybody out there that when you wake up, if you don't wake up saying what you can do, what you will do, what you want to do, if you always speak negative over your life, then that's what you're attracting. You got to start speaking that positively in your life and manifesting what it is that you want. And I'm telling you, you'll start seeing things change because you get the confidence, one, to do it. You know that you can do it. You say that you can do it, and then it happens. Because of course, faith without works is dead. So if you don't put in the work, how do you get it, right? So that's one of the things that's really, really important to me. And I've been standing on that for a long time, a long time. And anytime I get into a place where I feel like, whoo, it's getting a little rough, you're like, T, you can do it. T, you got this. T, we got to do this because of this. And I'm telling you, it keeps me so level headed, as well as the people around me. So shift your mindset, shift your money.
Get your mindset, get your money. Listen, this is the time. And I tell you, not to say that any other day of every 365 days, we need to be focused on our business, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't start really thinking about it, of course, until the beginning of the year. Then you're making your little resolutions. You want to say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to save. I'm
Right.
going to do this and the third. And a lot of people slip. Is the mindset that hard to achieve?
It is. And the reason for that is because you can be your biggest critic. You can be you can really throw yourself and make yourself fail just by what you think. We overthink things, and I say it all the time. Who said that fear is supposed to make you stop doing something? And
Mm,
that's where the mindset shift comes from because we allow things like fear to stop us from achieving a goal or even going after that goal because something in us told us that fear is supposed to make me stop. Fear is supposed to make me not do this. But who actually said that fear is supposed to make us stop? I was so afraid of being homeless again that I pushed myself so hard to not be homeless again versus being afraid to be homeless again and not doing anything to prevent it. And it just like you were talking about with getting those vision boards together at the beginning of the year and saying, hey, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve. One of the things I did differently this year, because it's always fun. Think about your mental this way. It's always fun to create these vision boards, get these big posters and make them look pretty. How many times do you reference that in the year? Do you put it in
mm,
your closet and you throw it away? Or do you pick it back up and say, okay, how many of my goals have I achieved? And a lot of times we get so caught in the actions and the activities that we forget to go back and reference that. And if you don't keep your mind, if you don't stay in front of it, then what happens? You start to forget about it or it starts to no longer be of importance. So one of the things I did this year, I actually changed it up a little bit. I put my vision board on something that I could see every day, like the front screen of my phone. And
okay.
now every time I unlock my phone, what happens? Boom, there's my vision board. And where last year I didn't meet all my goals, this year I did because I could see it every day. So you got to start making sure that you have to know what works for you. You can't do what everybody else is doing. You can't do what works for everybody else. You got to go through trial and error and figure out what is beneficial to you and stay in front of it. The more you stay in front of it, whether it's your finances, your mental state, whatever it is, if you stay in front of it and keep it to the forefront of your mind, you can achieve it. But if not, you'll forget about it or you'll let it go.
That's powerful. I think Keisha already said that's a great idea. And it is something that I think, we're so conditioned to get your board, clip out your little pieces of pictures and phrases or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows where are you going to put that big board? For some people, you may have an office and you may put it up and you may walk in and look at it. But for the majority of people, you're thinking, let me put this somewhere. I'm going to sit it over here in this corner and I'm going to hang it up and just never get around to it. So at the end of the day, you're never focusing on, because what you focus on grows. So if you're not looking at it every single day, you're not conditioning your mindset to start bringing those things and manifesting it into existence. Now, what you did say is, I'm going to go back to your page where it says the next level God is about to take you to is unimaginable, but it will require for him to have your undivided attention, because with the coming attraction, there will be a lot of distractions. Stay focused.
Right.
For people who get connected to you, do they come in and can they stay focused for long periods of time? Or is this just something that you have to feel like you have to pound for people to just get it?
One of the things that I can say I love about all of my students, and honestly, anybody connected to me, prior to them coming to me, they already know how Coach T is. And I'm sure anybody watching, they'll probably, this is their perfect time to get on to me, right? Because they know that Coach T is not going to let you fail. Because one of the things that I believe in is, if I had a Coach T when I was going through my roughest moments, how much further would I have been? I thought about it. What do I need, right? So a lot of times they may need a little pushing, but it's that tough love. Like, I can't do it for you, because I can't stand up there at that podium and accept an award for something I didn't do. You have to go through the blood, sweat, and tears. I can't make you more. I can't want it more than you want it. So a lot of times I get people that have waited and watched me for a year before they actually said, okay, coach, I'm ready. Or 6 months before they say, okay, coach, I'm ready, because they know when you take this step, I'm going to push you. Because if I had someone that, and I'm going to remind you, accountability is important. And you have to have those people connected to you that are going to hold you accountable. Not the people, I say it all the time, I'm a coach before I'm your friend. So you may have fun with me. We may laugh. We may get excited about things. But when it's time for business, it's time for business. So most of the time, they may have those moments where life gets to them and then they stray away. But it's about having somebody to say, listen, I know it's hard, but you can't stop. You got to keep going. So a lot of times they've already, like, man, coach is not going to play with me, so they're already conditioned, by looking at my posts or watching my live, they've already conditioned themselves to say, if I'm going to make this investment, I got to be ready before I make this investment.
That's great. And again, going back to what you said, accountability is important. And for a lot of people, you don't have anybody who truly holds you accountable. Most people will say, okay, even when it comes to like something like losing weight, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay on you. And then they stay on you until they see you messing up. And then they're just like, you know what, you can have it. And they don't want to keep you accountable. They, don't want to keep you to what you said you want to do. And so it's very powerful having someone like you. And again, like you say, when they already know, baby, Coach T don't play.
Right.
It gives you that mindset to, let me get in here and do what I'm supposed to do. So let's come on and talk about Dream Financial Services. That's your baby, right?
Yes. You see,
and it is blowing up. I'm looking through here and I'm seeing all of the things that you're doing, all of the new customers, clients that you have coming in. Y'all are blowing it out the water with the winning team. So tell me, what's the secret formula?
Love, honestly. To be honest, it's that compassion. My entire team, I've trained them to be on your case, like to show you, hey, we're gonna call you and say this is not supposed to happen. What's going on? And the biggest thing is we educate. A lot of times you join a program or you become a client and you're working with a service, but you still don't understand. And I'm a firm believer that in order for you to change the situation, you have to change the behavior. And so we teach how to change the behavior. Hey, let's talk about this. Do you understand why this is happening? Do you understand how this can impact you or affect you? Make sure you ask questions. We go so far as to asking for your bank statements. Let's talk about your spending. Let's talk about your budgeting, because we can change your credit score tomorrow. But if you don't change the behavior, a year later, you're going to be back in the program saying, Coach, I messed up. And the biggest thing that we say is we don't want to ever see you back in the program after you graduate unless you're becoming a referral partner. So with our program, we teach you, we educate you, we hold you accountable. And we try to change the behavior, because we don't want to just change the score and then you change it and now everything is over. We want you to say, when I come out of here, I know that if this happens again, I know what to do. I know if a life crisis happens, this is what to do. Even so much as asking for a payment arrangement. A lot of times, let's think about it, in our community, if we owe somebody, it's not intentional, it just happens. We're like, I'm not answering the phone, I don't got it. Instead of getting on the phone to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, can you guys help me? And a lot of people don't know that so many companies have programs to help, but they're so afraid to talk about their problems or what they have going on that they make a bigger problem. And we try to teach you not to do that, from taxes, making sure your taxes is together, your credit, your business credit, you name it. When it comes to the finance industry, we're helping outside of life insurance. But we do assist with all of that.
Yeah. And you know what? That's really important. I'm glad you said that, because when we're talking about wealth, for a lot of people, your mindset of how you deal with money, how you deal with things, comes from when you were a kid, from what you saw. So your beliefs, whether you believe that, honey, like you're paying, money don't grow on trees, or we don't have that, or all the negativity, a lot of times it frames how you relate. So that's when you grow up to become the person who look at the phone and say, girl, I ain't answer that because I don't have any money for them today. Or, whew, Christmas is coming up and like it's brand new every year, but you want to go in and get into a whole lot of debt. And now you can't pay for it because you're expecting for your income tax to come in and take care of it. So when you start getting into these patterns and habits, I'm loving that you're saying not only do you all educate people and love them through it, but you're checking them with their spending habits. You're checking them to reevaluate, why do you keep on doing the same thing over and over again? What is your mindset? Okay, now we got to shift that so that you can get better results. That's powerful, because everybody doesn't do that.
Right. And one of the things that I enjoy is when we have those phone calls, the first thing you hear is, Coach, I already know. This is what I did, and I know you're about to say something about it. Here's my plan to fix the problem. Even things small as like your utilization. You may have done something and you maxed out your credit card, and you get that phone call from Dream Financial, whoever your credit specialist is. I already know. Here's my plan on paying it back down. And that's the thing that I enjoy, because now they see it. They know when my score drops, I know exactly why that happened. And when Coach calls me, or when any of the other specialists call me, I know exactly what they're going to say. Let me tell them I already have a plan, meaning that you're staying, we talked about it, you're staying in front of that situation, because when you're in front of your finances, it helps you to keep maintaining them and grow them versus, being behind them and now you're scared of it.
I'm telling y'all, you better be taking notes. Y'all better be sharing this with somebody, because it has to become a shift. And so now that COVID has happened and we're in the midst of all of that, how has that impacted being able to file for your tax returns, being able to, accumulate money, especially business, because, we were all into the PPPs and all of that. So tell us what's going on in that financial piece there.
It's actually a lot in all aspects, man. In the last 2 years, we have touched so much money as a community that's being given, and you ask yourself, how much money is actually out there for small business owners, for consumers that we don't even know about. We didn't know about this stuff until, or we didn't know the importance, for example, of like your taxes. So many business owners still wanted a large refund, that they wrote so many things off on their taxes just for that quick money, that they weren't able to utilize this money that's forgiven, or, maximizing capital. But right now, for consumers with your taxes and things, there's things called COVID credits. And what that consists of is, if you've been out anytime for COVID, whether for yourself, a family member, your children, any of that, there's credits that'll help you financially. They had it last year too, where when you apply those credits, it increases your refund. For business owners, we, like you said, the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL loans, and these are all things where they're giving you up to 24 months of working capital. Imagine what a business owner could do, or an independent contractor. They have opened it up for independent contractors as well. Imagine what you can do with 24 working months of working capital.
Yes.
Life changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of it ties in together. What does your tax return say you made? And you have to, once you put all those together, between the funding that they're giving for small business owners, you have the African American grants that are going out. There's so many companies now that are giving grants because businesses have had to close down. It's a matter of research or getting connected to people that have that information so that you can utilize it.
That's good. Education, again, going back to what you do, which is why Dream Financial Services is so unique. A lot of people will come in and take your money, maybe provide a good service, maybe not. But what you give them is the education so that they can continue. Because what they say, give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. But you need to show him how to fish so he can be
He'll
fed
never
for a
go
lifetime, right?
home.
And that's what you do. That's the premise of everything you're saying right now. So I'm going to take a little further because I see here you said, stop letting people tell you to focus on how many likes you get to bring traffic to your business. The most important thing is engagement. Not to say the content is bad, but engagement. See, what I love about what you do is you take the time not only to try and, educate people on the financial aspect of it, but you come back in and even really talk about business 101, things that people, they're so happy about likes, but never
Mm-hmm.
get money. That doesn't mean anything, but to give people these little tidbits, because you'll pop on a live in a minute with some information, baby. Y'all better look. I need to see hearts right now because y'all know Coach T will pop on a live in a minute and
Mm-hmm.
drop some good information. Where did that come from? What makes you want to be so giving and so free with your information?
Honestly, just to kind of talk a little bit about my past and how I got here is what made me this way. When I was homeless, I remember driving down the road with my son. A teenage mom. I tried to be grown, move out, mad at my mom, and I remember trying my best to live paycheck to paycheck without asking for help because that pride, it made me, and that guilt made me not. I wanted to do it on my own, right? And I remember in one of the worst neighborhoods in Nashville, running out of gas, and I just had a moment where I broke down. I was banging on the steering wheel, and I was like, God, if you get me out of this situation, I promise I'll do your work, I'll do your will, and I'll make sure that whatever it is that you call me to do, I'll do it. Like, I'm sorry. This is my moment where I say I give up. And from that moment, as God started blessing me with full-time jobs and he started increasing my income, he had to one day stop me for a second and remind me that you said if I got you out of that situation that you were going to do your work. And I was like, okay, God, I got it. And I wasn't sure at the time, what that was exactly. And so many, pastors and prophets would tell me, you're going to be in ministry. You're going to be in ministry. And me being so young, I was like, I'm not trying to get in a pulpit. And one day God had to just smack me and say, did I ever tell you that your ministry was in a pulpit? I said you were called to ministry, but I never said that it would be in a pulpit. And then when I started working on my credit and I started helping my aunt with her clients because she's a realtor, she was like, do this as a business. I think you're really good at it. You've helped me in so many ways. And then I started a business. And after that, as I failed in business and I had my success in business, I started talking to people about, my failures. And I started talking to them about my success and started being honest. And from there, it just became my ministry to where I want to help other women that are like me, and men too, of course. But, my passion is for women that may have been in my situations to have somebody to say, look, I came from being broke. I came from being homeless. I came from people telling me I wouldn't amount to anything. And it was because I had to start believing in myself in order for me to get there. I want to take and do what I promised God that I would do. And that's minister and get other people out of that situation. And so, from there, that's what I've done. And it's just become a passion to where now anything that I experience, I'm an open book. Everybody knows Coach is an open book. I'll tell you about my failures. I'll tell you about my successes if that's going to help you, become successful.
Boom. That's it right there. It's the transparency for me. for a lot of people, you see the end, you see them, driving nice, eating good, living large, but people really try to be as transparent to tell you about being homeless or about, the repossessions and the foreclosures and all the things that happen to get you to where you are. And so the transparency is what makes you relatable. The love is what keeps people there and keeps people coming back and referring people to you. That's why I laughed when people came on, because I was just like, oh, honey, you can tell. They were like, look, that's Coach T is on, baby. Y'all better come on and support. And that's a beautiful thing to see, because that means that you have laid the foundation and you've done the work, which is why you're being honored this weekend. So we're going to talk about, the SheEO conference. For those who don't know, Coach T is up for Excellence in Wealth Award. And so Saturday night, she will have the honor bestowed upon her. And for everybody who wanted to know why, now you know what excellence looks like. That is the heart that you have to show people the way, to give people what they need, because a lot of people growing up didn't get it. A lot of people have, growing up, finances are hard topics for a lot of parents, especially in our community. You don't really have those kind of talks.
You're right.
So what do you tell people now who are, signing up with you to be certified credit consultants, who are signing up with you to be tax preparers? What do you tell them how to relate to their customers and share this financial literacy?
Be the expert. You can't try to get the money. The problem is, in a lot of businesses, and especially in the industry that I'm in, you want the money, but you don't think about the impact. When you focus on the income and not the impact, then your income doesn't come. But when you shift your focus to the impact, how can I change my community? How can I educate my community? People come to you. Just like I have a full Facebook group where I teach everything that I do for a living. I teach it for free, because a lot of times people can learn it, but they don't have the time, or they can learn it and or they hear you, but they don't get it. And so I teach all of my students, focus on educating your community, because when you educate them, even if a person gets it and they don't need you, they're going to send somebody else that does. And then that's where your income comes from. So studying outside of what I tell you, especially in the tax industry, I just told my preparers this today. Look, go out there and study. Educate your community. Don't just post, I do taxes, I do taxes, I do taxes. Start telling them some of the new tax credits that are coming out. Start telling them some of, the new tax laws that are coming out. Educate them on the forums, because we don't know this. We go to a preparer, we sit there, we look at them, they look at the computer, they tell us this is how much we're getting back. We're like, okay, we sign the paperwork without reading, and then we leave. And small things like looking at the bottom of your tax return to see if it has a company name versus your name. Because what does that mean, Coach? If it has your name, it's saying that it was self-prepared when you didn't prepare it. So if anything goes wrong, guess who gets in trouble? You do. And it's small things like that I teach both my credit consultants as well as my tax preparers to educate their following too. Because we as a community, because finances have always been so difficult, because we weren't taught these things, because we didn't know these things, we're scared of it. We try to look over it. We just like seeing the dollar, and then we're like, we're good with it, instead of being educated on how I could have made twice as much had I done it this way. And so I'm really big on teaching. I need you to educate first. And the more you educate, the more money that's going to come into you. Because I'm a firm believer, and my spiritual coach, her and I talk about this all the time. If it's God's will, it's his bill. So if this is what God has called you to do, and if this is what he wants you to do, he's going to make sure that you make a profit off of it. But you can't focus on the profit. You got to focus on the education and being being in ministry, and educating and letting people know this is what's going to help you. This is what's going to make you better in the future, because a lot of us stay focused on the present, and the present's already here. You got to focus on the future.
But if y'all don't know, this is a real one right here. Stop focusing on the wrong thing. And I really am glad that you gave the analogy about, because that is the truth for most people. In anything, in your health, you go to the doctor and you just listen to what they say. You don't ask questions. You just, what's the diagnosis? If I'm still live, okay, thank you. I see you when my next appointment is. Right. Or, you're going in and getting your taxes prepared, and you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to tell you. And we don't get actively involved in our own lives. And so it causes people to point the finger. This person is keeping me back. This person held me down. This person is always finger pointing, when in actuality, we're not stepping up and taking ownership of our own life. And so this right here, although we were talking about excellence and wealth, it's wealth not only in your pockets financially, but it's a wealth mindset.
Exactly.
It's a wealth mindset.
And I say all the time, you cannot have $1 million vision with a minimum wage work ethic. You can't say, I want to make $1 million, and then you sit at home and do nothing. And one thing that, and I do love Kevin Gates, I got to tell the truth. One thing that he said that was so big, so impactful to me was, he said, you're born broke. That's not your fault. But if you die broke, that is your fault. And a lot of us, we're still blaming our parents and our cousins, our uncles, our aunties, our grannies, our past relationships, our girlfriends, our boyfriends, our husbands, our wives, of why we're still in the same situation. And that happened 7 years ago. If you're still saying that that person is the reason you're where you are 7 years later, they're not the problem. You're the problem. You got to start saying, okay, this happened to me. Okay, because if I stayed stuck on being molested when I was younger, and I allowed that to keep me down, then it's no longer that person's fault that done it to me. It's the fact that I held on to that and allowed it to keep me down. You got to get in a place where you say, okay, this happened. Let me heal from it. Let me grow from it. That's where wealth comes from, because everybody wants to be rich, but nobody wants to be wealthy. And wealthy is your health. That's your mental state. That's your money. You got to stop pondering on the past and start pushing yourself towards your future. And what can I do differently? And so I'm real big on that. If Kevin Gates said, if you're born broke, that's not your fault. But if you die broke, it is. It is.
That's a powerful, what I'm telling you, you have dropped some nuggets. That in and of itself is something for people to start reflecting on, because where you are today is not where you have to stay. Right. But if you stay there, that is your own choice, because there are choices. Life is about choices. Going into 2022, it is time. If you do not have someone who can speak into your life, that can speak to the wealth that you're supposed to have, because if you believe in God, then you should have an abundance mentality, and you should know that it's out there for you. So you just got to get it. You can't sit still. You got to put in that work. But if you put in that work, you should expect to manifest it in your life. Manifesting wealthiness in your mindset, in your pockets, in your relationships, in your health, all those things. Consider yourself to be wealthy. It's not about being rich. Wealth transcends richness. And a lot of people just don't get it. You think just because you got a little money in your hand, but when you think about it, it's people out here who are billionaires and they are still unhappy. Right. They still committed suicide. They still struggle in other areas or with their families, and so money does not make it all better if you don't have it together inside here first.
Right. You're right.
So listen, I know that, honey, they got high fives and all this. And I believe it was Jaquisha that said, I am so proud of you. This is everything. So listen, I appreciate you all showing up. I want you, first and foremost, I have it scrolling across the bottom. So y'all see Dream Financial Services. The website is there. And there's two different ones. What's the difference on the one that's online and then the actual Dream Services website? What's the difference in the two?
So the Dream FS Inc. is the actual credit services. If you're looking to get assistance with your credit, have aspirations to be a homeowner, etc., that's the website that you will go to. The TeeBirdsongOnline.com is working directly with Coach T. That's more of coaching, not the actual credit services, but we go through finances. Your business coachings are on there. Anytime I'm having a class or a webinar, any of that, it will be on my personal coaching website, where there's more of the teaching, and then the Dream is more of the service base.
Got you. Make sure you guys go back in and really, even if you're live now, go back and listen to the replay, because sometimes you don't get it until you go back and you actually get it. And once it sinks in, that's when change is going to come. I believe you said earlier, speak what you seek until you see what you said. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we got to start putting that into action. We got to start that, and don't wait until the first January the 1st of 2022. You can start that today, because there's still time to make a huge impact. And what she said, I see somebody put Jamaica says good information. What she said is, it's about impact. It's about, loving people enough and being the change you want to see, so that we can impact and influence our communities, our households, the people that are looking at us from a distance. Let it be that what they see is your reality, not just that fakeness, but the reality of your life and how you live it. And so, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we end the broadcast today?
Absolutely. The biggest piece of advice that I'll give is, don't try to be what you see everybody else on social media be, because a lot of times we go into depressions and we're stressed out about what we see other people have. And it's so easy for me to rent a car on Turo, a BMW, and then go put on paint the bottom of my heels red, put on a pretty skirt and shirt, and take a picture and say I'm a millionaire. Don't allow yourself to go into a depression or stress yourself out about somebody else's situation, because you cannot compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 13. Walk in your chapter 1, embrace your chapter 1, and figure out how you're going to make this chapter 1 benefit your chapter 2. Stay focused on where you are. Stay focused on your goals. And if you haven't already started preparing for 2022, you're already behind. So I challenge every person that's watching to, if you have not created your revenue goals, your actual personal goals, figured out what you're going to do in your life going into 2022, you're just coasting, you're already behind, and you're setting yourself up for failure. It's time for you to start writing a vision and making it plain. Stay focused, get it together, write it down, your budget, what you want to make, whatever that is, and start focusing on you. Don't focus on anybody else in 2022. Self-care is important. Focus on you. Okay? And that's it, I promise.
And that's the mic drop for you. Listen, focus on you in 2022. That should be your mantra, and it ain't hard to remember, right? Focus on you in 2022. Get it together. Like she said, it is already, it says somebody said, good job, ladies. Congratulations, coach.
Thank you.
So, yes, Monica Cherry. Yes, thank you, Monica. So, definitely, I want you all to tap into what Coach T is doing. She already told you she's got a group where you can go, and she's giving stuff away for free. The knowledge is there, and if you have enough about yourself, if you've got enough hustle, if you've got enough, to where you can get in there and get some information. But if you really want to go to the next level, then you need to tap into the coaching services. You need to allow her to help you to unravel all of those self-limiting beliefs that you have about money and about business and about how you do your life. Let her help you get that together, so that you can really go and start playing strong and being confident, because I'm telling you, it is a game changer. Her energy is unmatched. When you see her come on, she is like, hey, y'all, come on and let's get it. And she ain't wasting no time. So make sure you connect. Make sure you're ready, because she ain't with no plans. So listen, somebody else that put up here, like, I know you got that right. She ain't with the games, honey, and she don't play. But if you're ready, if you're serious, you will not have anybody who will fight for you harder. So make sure y'all tap in. I'm going to play this conference video again for those of you who just came on, or maybe came in late. So you guys know the SheEO District Conference is this weekend. So tomorrow and Saturday, December 10th and 11th. The honors ceremony will be on the 11th. So if you want to see Coach T get her award for excellence in wealth, then you need to be up in the place. And we want y'all to be like, that's my coach right there. That's my Coach T. Yes, that's her. We want you to come in and shout for her, because she very much deserves it. Thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, y'all check out this video, and then we're going to sign on off.